mom's room.
I get a view too. I thought I was gonna have better anniversary gifts than this.
Biggest kitchen I ever seen.
What's the pen?
Just like at home.
You didn't take the room picture.
Open up your window.
Where'd you want to go?
The store.
Okay. Oops. See how tight I want the top.
Nesting here, you can see gulls flying all over. This is a bird nesting area, protected area, and if you disturb the birds, you will be bird. As we say, you get be given a white badge of courage. So be careful. Anyway, restrooms, right?
Mommy, you want my jacket?
It must have really bad rain. Look at see that one bird, Michael?
Oh, you remember that?
Oh, wait. Didn't one of you guys pick up the other bird, maybe? Oh, what was that thing they were looking at? Mike, what was that CD you were looking at?
I'm not getting no CD.
Where's the other one?
It was supposed to be down there. We were supposed to line up, but you didn't want to. Flash.
He marches into the cell house, and we marched down Broadway. And this was like an introduction to Alcatraz. They try to humiliate you in front of the other convicts by parading you down Broadway.
You should now be standing before the photo panel. These are some of the people you'll be hearing from on our tour. The first photo is of Leon Thompson.
Yeah, my name is Leon Whitey Thompson. Yeah, my number was 1465, AZ 1465. I was a man that had total hatred in them days. I hated anything that walked or crawled on this earth. But I was a man who was dead inside. You couldn't hurt me no more, see?
Cell house. You may smoke in your cell, in the library.
Turn to your left and stop in the corridor.
Not elsewhere in the cell house. Do not smoke or carry lighted cigarettes or pipes in the cell house at any time. Walk. Do not run when moving from one place to another.
Alcatraz was the Bureau of Prisons' big stick. You screw up long enough and bad enough, and we're going to send your tail out there.
During the 1920s and 30s, a wave of violent crime swept across America. Even after they were caught and put in prison, many of these criminals continued to cause problems in already overcrowded jails. The federal government decided that a new super prison was needed to isolate these men.
They came down, they recorded the sound. And guess what? This is the sound of Darth Vader's spaceship doors. So rent the video, listen to this. That's how the door is. You like to see a control box?
He's up there, dotted around. And we nicknamed the dining room the gas chamber. It so happened during the history of Alcatraz they never did trip the button. If they did trip it, they would have made a fatal mistake because them two guards in there and the lieutenant would never have gotten out of there alive.
Now walk to the barred area at the far end of the dining room. Behind it is the kitchen area. Notice the knife rack on the left. Each knife in the rack had its silhouette painted to check inventory.
Well, there's other ways you could get stuff from the kitchen into the cell block. Because the cell block officer, he could be distracted.
And I heard that old familiar pop slap, you know, and Chili had drove it into Sosa's back. It was just like an ice pick. He stuck it right back. Actually went through and come out the front. And that was the pop slap I heard.
I think about 3-4 men got killed with kitchenware.
Please take a seat.
Alcatraz, I don't think you ever heard anybody say anything disparaging about the meals.
It was a strict requirement of the Bureau of Prisons that the food not only be palatable and healthy, but attractively served.
But there again, it was to help. So there was never a day you didn't see what the hell you were losing and what you were missing. You know, it was all there for you to see. You know, there's life. There's everything I want in my life, and it's there. It's a mile or a mile and a half away.
Do it, I'd lower the boom on him. And the man would probably go to segregation, go to the hole. That was my club.
This was the prison inside the prison, the treatment unit. Infractions of regulations landed you in D block. As you enter D block, turn left and walk over to the windows in the center of this ward. Pause by one of the radiators up against the wall.
Now in this cell block, We have 42 of the least popular cells in Alcatraz. Although by far they are the best, the roomiest, and the nicest state-of-the-art cells that were available in this prison.
It was cold. It was damp. The wind used to just blow through there. You could hear it. At night, you could hear it whistling through the window.
On the two upper tiers, we had people who were in segregation.
Some of those guys used to be in isolation for years. We used to keep guys there, like look at Waddy Phillips for 13 years.
One of the more infamous prisoners who spent years in solitary confinement was Robert Stroud, the so-called Birdman of Alcatraz. On the top tier to your right is cell number 42, where he spent 6 years before being moved to the hospital for another 11 years.
And almost immediately upon his arrival at Alcatraz, he was relegated to the treatment unit in segregation. And he didn't bring his birds along with him, which made him very unhappy, but he brought all his bad habits with him, which made us unhappy. There he remained for several years, being obnoxious and noisy and agitating and busily writing.
But Stroud was a guy that always created turmoil. But even when he was in the hospital, he used to create turmoil.
He had pulled himself up by his own bootstraps with the aid of the prison educational system until he was on college level. Fluent in 3 languages, a mathematical expert. Brilliant man.
You may enter one of the solitary confinement cells if you wish. Now open your eyes, step out of the hole, turn left, and walk through the nearest doorway which leads to the library. Walk into the large open area that once housed the prison library. Books and magazines were distributed daily to the inmates who had earned reading privilege. Prisoners were not allowed into the library. The books and magazines were brought to them by an inmate who could move around the cell house. In May 1946, an inmate assigned to this library detail led the most brilliant, violent, and bloody escape attempt ever in Alcatraz history. Before it was over, 9 officers would be taken hostage and freedom.
And then right after that, the siren went, and they were dead.
Now look at cells 402 and 403. These are the cells where the inmates locked up the captured guards.
One thing just kept perpetuating itself. More people kept coming in, they kept catching more people, the phones started.
One of them walls there. Them walls may be old, but let me tell you, you're not going through them cells with them spoons.
They didn't make those holes with spoon handles. They had the necessary tools, hammers and chisels and drills.
The England brothers, they always struck me as people with a, they got a little happiness. They always seemed to have a smile, They didn't have that grim look.
Look at the photos of the dummy heads used to fool the guards.
The head that I saw was extremely realistic. It was certainly a realistic enough one that I could see where somebody could easily have counted it.
To paint the dummies' heads, to get the hair from the barber shop. All it took the cooperation of other convicts, so the word gets out.
Continue walking to the end of the cell block and turn right. In the center of the wall, you can see a glass door. Inside is the utility corridor through which they climb to the roof.
It was just a little bit after 10 o'clock. Lou and I heard them going up through the tunnel to the roof. And while they were going up through the tunnel, one of them dropped the bar. They dropped something. I heard it go cling, clang. And I looked toward the gun rail. And the guard was sitting over there reading a book or something.
The 3 men made their way across the roof, over 2 fences, and down to the waterfront. No trace of them was ever found. Turn left and walk over to the 4 small windows in the wall under the gun gallery marked Visitation Area. The inmates called it Pekin Place.
When they'd written me that letter and said, you know, you're dead, don't ever come back. We've told your sister you're dead, the whole bit, you know. I'd been there at the Rock 7.5 years. Now, the guard came up and racked my door open and said, Quillen? And I said, yeah. Or said 586, and I said, yeah. You got a visitor? And I told him, I said, you're full of crap. He said, you got a damn visitor. Go down to the visiting office.
Go ahead. Approach the visitor's window.
I thought, hell, I'll see.
We're taking on water.
We are? Huh? Yeah.
Come on, go on the ship. camera? I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Go see. Go see.